Yo, what's going on? Hey, that's not easy. We are here. So, I kind of just wanted to talk about how the season went this year, what I've learned, and everything of that nature when it comes to tournament fishing. So, the first year I fished tournaments, I fished as a co-angler with my partner Jeff. Caught some fish, but kind of was just my first year. I'm just going out there because I love to fish. So this is the first year I had my own vessel, my own boat, and kind of got to like really navigate and fish where I wanted to fish and do what I thought was right for the day, the conditions and things of that nature. So, and I learned a lot, man. Anyway, hold on, let me see. I should start this. So fishing on your own boat, it's different, man. It's different. Everybody out there that pond hops and all that stuff, fishing tournaments, it's like, it's a totally different mindset, totally different mode. You're out there competing with great anglers all across the map. Not like map like world, but I mean like just from all different areas of Virginia where I'm at. And these guys have been fishing this water for years. So they know the ins and outs. You know, they know, man, the temperature, what's it called, the pressure of the water, how the moon was last night, the 2 days before weather, how that played a role in how the fish were gonna be biting, where they're gonna be sitting at. And yeah, so overall it was kind of like, we was catching fish, right? Like catching enough fish to have a limit every tournament, but we just weren't catching the right size fish. That part I really don't, that's the hardest part for me, right? It's like, we're catching fish. So what we're doing is correct, but we're not catching the right size. So how do I get to the point where I can catch the right size fish, right? And that's like one of the biggest things that it's just hard to overcome, and it's very mentally draining and defeating when you go out there all day and like, yeah, man, you're just catching fish, it's not the right ones, man. Y'all see it on my IG reels all the time. I'm always throwing away little fish because they're not keepers. So, yeah, that's so frustrating. It can be defeating. Fishing deep was something that like, man, I'm not doing it. You know what I mean? But after I kind of broke that and kind of realized like, it's really not that bad. All you're doing is slowing down. Just slowing down what you're doing, backing up off the point, back up off the bank a little bit, you know, because you could still be, you know, I don't know how to say it right, 15, 20 feet off the bank, and you could still cast all the way to the bank, and you can work that bait all the way back, because who knows, those fish might be not on the bank, but right off the bank where it drops, you know, where it goes from 5 to 15, because that's how the res is. The res is crazy. You know, 1 minute you're like, you can step off the boat, and the next minute you're in the depths of hell. That's just how the res works. And, you know, just kind of figure out what water column those fish are at. From the most part, what I've realized is that if they're not on the bottom, they're right close to the bottom. So, 1 second, AC cut on. Boom, we're back. Had to cut everything off. So yeah, trying to figure out what water column they're in. AC is still pumping, man. I can't get a break. But anyway, just trying to figure out that water column that they're in. Understanding what bait you're using, what's their best, you know, the best areas to throw them. You know, if you're trying to get to 15 or 20 foot, like, man, throw a jig. Or, you know, if you're in that 20 foot water, but they're sending that 10 to 12 or that, you know, that 8, whatever area they're in, throw a jerk bait. That's, you know, so a couple of baits, you know, that I kind of experienced and broke my, you know, I don't know, just broke my spell of not like throwing them. Definitely one for sure had to be a crankbait, deep crankbaits. I was doing a lot of is it RT repellers? Or DTs? Yeah, DTs, that's what it's called, DTs. A lot of DT16s, a lot of DT20s. And those were great because like when I'm fishing off deep in the middle, just in the middle of nowhere, I'm casting, I'm feeling that bottom. Ended up picking a couple bites that way. I broke my curse with a jig last season when I fished as a co-angler. So this year, throwing a jig, I kind of backed away from throwing a jig. It's just the way the temperatures were. Texas rigging crawls and bugs like that was working way better. It seemed way more efficient to me too, because I'm still getting at the bottom. So I don't know if, you know, in my mind, I don't know if it's the presentation of a jig and the hairs on it between the presentation of just a tungsten weight and a crawl or a bug or whatever you got tied on at the time is making a huge difference in bites. And you know, I didn't really quite understand that one. That one's still confusing to me now. Like, is it really something about the jig? I don't know if it's the jig, the way the jig makes a bait stand up when it's on the bottom, or the action that a jig gives it, or maybe just the hairs on a jig that really entice a fish to bite. So I kind of backed away from throwing a jig this season. I really stuck to the Texas rig. Google Squad Bandito bug. I know a lot of people, you know, don't like Google Squad products, but I'll tell you right now, the Bandito bug is the juice. I was throwing that black and blue Bandito bug faithfully. Always had it tied on, always had it rigged, always had it ready to go on the deck. Another thing I got into this year was drop shot. I didn't catch them on the drop shot, but I definitely got some bites on the drop shot. Drop shot's still a little shaky for me, but I definitely am liking it. It's definitely good because you can get to the bottom, but your bait can kind of suspend off the bottom. So if those fish are 3 or 4 feet off the bottom, you're kind of right there where you need to be. You know, you just play with it a little bit. You get a lot of good action on that too as well. Another big thing, I threw was some top water this year. I kind of backed away from the top water in the beginning of the season, and that was actually the time when they were on beds and they were shallow. And let me tell y'all, when they're shallow on beds, they are shallow. It got to the point where I literally had to have my boat almost nose in the bank, and I had to step on the top of my boat. If this is my boat, I had to stand like right here and then fish the grass patches because you could see the bass, snakeheads, everything was just up there, man. So that was crazy. So when they're on beds, man, definitely you gotta, there's like a, to me, my perspective, you really, it's like 80% chance you need to be on the bank. You need to be fishing the bank. When I say the bank, I mean the bank. So keep that in mind. That's just my perspective. Please, anything I'm saying, y'all, if y'all got any tips about the res, anything that I should go out there and try and work on, please let me know. I really want to learn jerk baits, swim baits. I threw some swim baits this year. Didn't go how I planned it to go. Didn't really get no bites, but I did toss them around for a little bit, a couple hours here and there, 30 minutes here and there, and I don't know. I just, something about a swim bait is kind of weird to me, right? I don't know, but swim baits do catch usually big fish, so definitely plan on throwing swim baits a little bit more next season, especially when those fish are chasing shad and doing things of that nature, because you can see it. And another thing is kind of figuring out where the bass are on the res. You know, I feel like, this is just me speaking. This is me, my first year by myself. I feel like either up or down late. You kind of like, you start your day off, you pick your poison. Because it seems like every tournament I have made the right choice in where I had to go, right? Like I said, we always caught enough fish to get a limit, just not the right size. So I've made the choice of where the fish were, where the bait were located, and it just never ended up working out how I really wanted it to. Yeah, that was rough. That's very defeating. I threw a lot of wacky worm. I always keep the wacky. One of my big things was like, at the end of the day, you know, like I would just pick a bank, man, beat it with a wacky, and I would literally always pick up 2 or 3 fish. Most tournaments it'd work out like that, you know. I caught 6, 7 fish in the beginning of the day. We only got 1 in a live well, and I'll catch my last 2 from 3 to 4 o'clock, just picking a bank and wacky rigging all the way down it. So I always keep the wacky rig in hand. Fishing points, that was something new to me because it's kind of like fishing deep, and that is definitely, I feel like, something that I got to do more of at a certain point in time of the season. You know, beginning of the season, I feel like you need to be on the banks. Mid-season, you know, I think you need to be on points. After that, you need to be deep. And then after that, I think the fish kind of slow down and they're kind of like, they're spread out all over the place. But I don't think they're deep. I don't think they're shallow. I think they're right there in that middle column, picking up on a lot of bait fish. So that's just my perspective, and that's how I'm gonna fish season next year. So kind of giving y'all the goodies to my secrets. But hey, it's crazy because everybody's told me tricks of the trade about the res, and just because you know the answers doesn't mean you can go out there and perform. That's the sad, true story of bass fishing. We're ready to some motor troubles this year and this season, so definitely take care of your boat, take care of your motor. Make sure everybody's like, this dude's saying stuff I already know. Make sure your gas to oil ratio is correct. So that was what was wrong with my motor. My gas to oil ratio was not correct, so it flooded my motor. And then check your spark plugs, man. Spark plugs are cheap. Check them every now and then. Pull them off. See what they're looking like. If they're looking bad, go to the store. Pay $3, $4. Replace some things real quick. Definitely, when you're cold starting your motor, let it run a little bit. You know what I'm saying? Be careful of that. What else with my motor, man? And that's pretty much it on the motor. I experienced some leaks in the boat. So when I bought the boat, it had a leak in it. We fixed the leak, but I think it was summertime. It got hot. Hey, get from over there. Anyway, my dog, I'm sorry. But we had when I bought the boat, it was a leak in the boat, but we had it plugged and it was working fine. No water coming in the boat. And then towards mid-season, end of the season, We started taking water again. I think that's just, you know, it was too hot. The rubber that we plugged it with kind of, I guess, lost shape, lost form, and so stopped the water from coming in on the boat. So that was a big thing. Live well set up, didn't have too much trouble with the live well. Y'all always say just keep ice on you, whether it's hot, whether it's cold, who knows, because who knows what the water temp's going to be. And I'm telling you right now, the morning of the day does not determine what the end of the day is going to look like, especially in Virginia. When it's summer, it's probably summer. You just need some ice. But towards September, dude, it can wake up in the morning, it can be chilly, and in that afternoon, it's cooking. So definitely that. I got to learn how to, what's it called? When you catch fish deep, you got to, I don't know what it's called. I had it in my head. Stick the thing in their throat or on their fin or their spine, I think it's called, right? And compress the air out of their thing so they can get acclimated to the level of water that you have in your live well. That's a big thing too. And then next year I just got to know when to slow down, know when to work fast. I think a lot of times I fish fast. Towards the end of this year, I feel like I have definitely been able to realize, based off the conditions and the environment that I was in, what baits I need to be throwing to catch fish. So if you're out there first time tournament fishing, I would definitely say, man, just take it for what it's worth. Go out there every day with an open mind, learn, try new things, and if the fish aren't biting, slow down. And I mean slow down. So that's another thing. All my rods, all my reels right now are a 7-1, right? So I definitely plan over this for the next season. Going to pick me up some 5s, some 6s. So a 5, a 6. I want to get an 8. And this is all gear ratios, if y'all know what I'm saying. 5 to 1, 7 to 3 to 1, 6 to something to 1, and 8 the fast one, you know what I mean? So I definitely want to pick up some different gear ratio reels. Rods wise, I do got some rods I don't like, but that just comes over experience. I think this is like my first year tournament fishing, 4th year bass fishing, or fourth year bass fishing, specifically targeting bass, because I fished for longer than that, but, and first year tournament fishing, and yeah, man, that's just some of the stuff I learned, man. Is there any other baits that I would say, oh, spinner baits. I never throw a spinner bait. I just was like, you know, it's just weird because all the baits are almost the same, right? Jigs, chatterbaits, spinner baits, what is it called? I can't think. Spinner baits, something else. It's like I feel like everything is just the same. It's just small differences that can make a huge difference on your bite, and how those fish are reacting to what you're throwing at the end of the day, you know. So yeah, man, it was a tough season. I enjoyed it. The trail we're on is good people there, but I definitely am going to invest in a live, what's it called, active imaging from Lowrance. I think it's called active target something. Definitely going to get that hooked up on my Lowrance before next season, that's for sure. And I think I do want to get one more fish finder just for the back of the boat, because my fish finder right now is on the front of the boat. So if I'm kind of idling or whatever, I can't really see what's going on in the water to see if this is going to be a good spot before I cut the motor off. So I literally have to cut the motor off, get up, walk to the front. Does it look good? Go back, crank the motor. So kind of try to eliminate that process so it can just be, okay, I just want to troll right here. Okay, this looks good. Boom, then I cut the motor off and then I continue to fish. Yeah, man. And I think because I'm still going to fish some tournaments. Why I say this is my first year fishing a tournament, this is like a whole club or whatever they call it, season, whatever. This is my sticking with this whole season club thing, whatever. I stuck with the whole one. I've fished certain tournaments outside of that, but I'm definitely going to be fishing a lot more tournaments the rest of this year, hopefully, depending on weather. It is Virginia. You know, who knows, we might have 20-degree weather. I've done that before. It's no fun. But I definitely want to try some new things. Even when I'm out fishing ponds and lakes, on the bank, whatever. Just try new baits. That's, you know, another big thing I want to do, explore new baits and learn new techniques. Learn how to read a graph better, for sure. I know from when I first bought my Lowrance to where I am now, it's like night and day. I've learned so much, but I feel like there's so much more I need to learn. And that's what just makes bass fishing great, man. Like, yeah, you can go to a pond or whatever, but tournament fishing is like, dude, it unlocks that, like, that killer, that mindset that, like, hold up, man, there's no way. No way. Y'all listen to Brandon. There is no way that they just caught all those fish in the same areas that I was just in, and I couldn't get that accomplished. So that's how I feel every time I go out there. I got a competitive mindset, but I'm still out there to have fun. I know it's money on the line, but also know that I'm still learning and I'm still growing. So to me, it's what needs to be done. If I ever plan to fish bigger events in the future, who knows? That may be 3 years down the line, that may be 4, but you know, I got plenty of time to do that and plenty of time to grow and plenty of time to learn. So if y'all take anything away from this video, definitely if you haven't fished tournaments before, I'm just trying to let y'all know, give you some insight that tournaments are totally different. And this is not even talking NPFLs, or I can only imagine, nowhere near that level yet, but I can only imagine what it's like. I do want to be there one day, but I can only imagine what it's like up there, man. You know, because they're fishing on bigger bodies of water. I'm fishing on a big body of water. I would say kind of big, but it's nowhere near the size of the body of waters they're fishing on. You know, they're running miles to go just target some fish. And me, I feel like once I unlock the secrets of this place, I think I'll be better in a lot of other places. Just recently did a tournament at Lake Chick, and last time I went there I got skunked. This time I went there and I caught 3 fish and I had like 7 or 8 bites, good ones. Like 4 top water blow ups. It just won't sucking it down. And then a couple set the hook, broke off. A couple set the hook, line snap. So things like that. I gotta find a good line company for sure to spool my reels with. That's gonna be it's gonna help me, because I put my faith. I like the drag system, whatever, y'all can have that. I don't need my line screaming. I put my faith in my rod, my reel, and my line. I don't feel like there's no reason why when I get that fish that business, he should be in that boat immediately. No drag. You pulling drag and my drag all the way tight, hey, that's them the fish I want. But other than that, that's something else I maybe need to work on. I think I do run my drag low on maybe my spinner reels just a little bit. But other than that, man, like everything else, jigging, flipping, pitching, Texas rigging, whatever you want to call it, drag's tight, always tight drag. So yes, your boy Bassin ain't easy, man. I got a bunch of stuff on the way. I'm working diligently. I'm trying to bring my style of fashion, right? Trying to bring this to this and make it into something great and give it to you guys. So, you know, yeah, man, it's gonna be pretty cool. See everything come full circle. I've been doing this YouTube thing for a year. Not too long, not too shabby. I've been doing this whole trying to grow, trying to make it, trying to be better for a year. And I'm happy with the results, and I can't wait to see what happens next. So sorry y'all, this 18 minute video of just me talking to you guys, but I hope you got something from it. Hope you learned something today, and I hope there's something that you could teach me. And if there is, please comment below. Let me know what it is. I'm all ears, open to learn. I take everything in and I use what I feel like is best. So it's your boy Bassin, man, and I will catch y'all on the water. Let's get it.